Regal Movie Masters. Unlimited.
This is the Regal Movie Masters Unlimited podcast, where we indiscriminately watch every goddamn movie that comes out at the local theaters. Your movie masters today are Justine.
Hi.
Brent.
Hello.
Dylan.
Heyo.
I am Colin. Today's movies are M3GAN, or M3GAN for you little clever people out there, and A Man Called Otto, the new Tom Hanks venture. Before we get into that, though, let's talk about last week's episode, our big end of the year award ceremony. Did that take a toll on you guys like it did on me?
In what sense?
Yeah, what?
I burned my brain out thinking about that stuff.
Oh.
It was like really hard.
Opposite to my entire academic career, I started working on it in advance.
Yeah.
Versus the night before.
Oh, yeah. No, there was no like cramming. It was ground up. Like, let's really take some time into this. Weeks out, rewatching movies and stuff. We're really worked hard. It's a strange like purge.
Yeah.
I watched all these things. I ranked them. I got it all sorted out and just immediately flushed after that episode. It's a strange amount of knowledge to have bouncing around in your head.
I was mainly impressed that everybody's like, yeah, I'll do another year.
I was just more nervous that we're going to have some conflicting answers.
And like fight about it.
Yeah, but it worked itself out. We were fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's like a give and take thing. You know what I mean? It's like you might not necessarily agree with somebody's pick, but you understand why,
Yeah.
Oh, because it was favorite. What are you going to say?
Yeah.
No, it's not.
You're a liar.
I think you're
Lie.
fake.
Since when?
Name three. Yeah. Name three scenes.
Yeah.
Who was the producer? Huh? You don't know? Oh, funny. It's your favorite. It was a weirdly intense experience, and glad that it's done. I'm glad I did it. I felt like it's a really useful tool in a sense. The end of the year to kind of really jog your memory and know everything. I'm curious what's going to happen years down the line if that little chunk of time will be like really solidly etched into my brain.
I had a thought that it might be good because it's like we're about to embark on a full year of movie watching versus 6 months. I was thinking it might be good to maybe not necessarily have awards, but do quarterly check-ins on how we're feeling about different categories and like who's kind of at the front of our minds at that point in the year.
Well, the critic that I look up to most, Greg Turkington from On Cinema at the Cinema, has said that there should be at least 2 Oscars a year.
He's not wrong.
He's not wrong.
Yeah.
He's not wrong.
So you can get like summer blockbusters,
Right.
and then you can get serious ones.
Hey.
Because what are you going to like?
Yeah.
You can't compare like The Rock and Tom Hanks or something.
Well, I think that's what like the Nickelodeon Kids' Choice Awards
yeah,
are maybe
MTV
for.
Movie Awards.
You remember the Blockbuster Awards that were straight up just like, who sold the most? Here's your award.
It's so gross.
It's so gross, and it's
so
like,
gross.
can't you just tell? Like, I think your award for your award, if you will, for selling as many Backstreet Boys CDs as having the money that you get from selling all those CDs. I don't think you need an award on top of it. Different times, folks.
One of the things I've been doing after our award show aired, I've just been posting a recap of the winners on Instagram,
Right.
Which is Official Movie Masters. If you're on Instagram, like for instance today, like I posted John Boyega as our favorite consensus actor, and I've been getting some texts today that said John Boyega, really? And I was like, did you see Breaking? Not yet, but that script is trash. I was like, you read that
Script?
I was like, I didn't see you in the coffee shop with me and Dylan when we were reading all the scripts, so I don't know where you were.
What do you mean the script is trash and you didn't watch the film?
I don't know, man.
Yeah.
Where are you getting the script from?
Either way, this is about acting, which
Yeah.
you would have to
Oh,
watch,
that's true, huh?
right? Like no matter what the script said.
That's the whole point of what an actor does.
Exactly. Well,
But I think, if you had at least 2 Oscars per year, then, you know what I mean? It'd be less intense.
Right. Anyways, it is a new year, right? And we are starting, I'll say very strong. We're leading with the first movie of the year that we all saw in the theater, M3GAN, which is a story about a cybernetic little robot girl run on AI or something who befriends a small child by force.
Colin, do you mean
It's called M3GAN. I'm going to say it's from M3GAN's perspective. Some would say it's about, a small girl who loses her family, and her aunt, who's the head of a robotics company, gives her a toy, a prototype of a M3GAN doll, which is an android, who gets into hijinks with her.
I think you mean Model 3 Generative Android.
Dude, that's so cool. I knew for a fact. Listen, I'm not going to tell you the plot of the movie. You know what's going on. You see the little creepy doll girl dancing. You know what fucking time it is. Don't look at me for the goddamn your cliff notes here. Your first act, second act, third act. It's not going to happen. Yeah, what was it? Model 3 Generative Android.
Model 3 Generative Android is what it stands for.
I swear to God, when I heard that, I was like, okay. It's official. We are watching a movie here.
Yeah.
And I think that's like, if I had to really sum up the spirit of this film, it's that. Like, we are still like, I am Johnny 5. Like, it's an acronym for something.
I think the movie gods smiled upon us with the first two we watched. Hey, here's a couple movies that you're going to enjoy that aren't going to like really be taxing to watch.
Now, call me crazy. And this is just, I'm obviously far more aware of this sort of thing now than I was before. But having a movie come out the first week of a year, which is to say the furthest point away from the Oscars that you could possibly pick, it's kind of like an FU.
I think so.
Like,
it's a flex.
I fucking dare you. Yeah. I dare you to pick this movie for the Oscars. They're just like, you know what? We're not even trying. Yes, if we put this out a week ago, we would have been like in the running, but we're not doing that. Yeah. We're playing it straight. We're putting this out. And I mean, obviously, this is not an Oscar movie or anything. This is a very much so a crowd-pleasing film. And I love that about the movie. I think it did such a good job kind of just being a fun movie, being a easy-to-watch movie, being a movie that I think appeals to a broad spectrum of people. I know this sounds weird, but like I was very conscious of a lot of the little ticks that the movie was doing to sort of appeal to women specifically. I think it's such an easy in when you're like, here's a creepy doll story, of which there's been a million, right? From Chucky to whatever, Dead Silence. You watch Dead Silence, you're not like, oh, I had a little weird ventriloquist doll growing up. No, you didn't. But
no, you didn't.
A girl probably had like, some weird Bratz doll abomination that looked not like M3GAN, but not too dissimilar. So there's an in with that, with a female demographic that would probably not be there with like, if it was a killer Transformers toy or a video game that comes to life and murder, whatever the fuck you want to.
What was it? Doll Man?
Oh,
versus
Demonic Toys.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Which was the evil Jack in the Box. Full Moon Productions did. Doll Man, though, was just a detective that had...
Oh, he was small.
I think he might be from a different planet where everyone's small. Like Superman in reverse, where you show up to the planet instead of being like your normal strength on your planet, but you're super strong here. Like your normal height on your planet, but you are 4 inches tall here.
Yeah.
Weak and small.
Fuck. Shout out to the real independent creators out there at Full Moon Productions.
Hey, to your point about general audiences, do you know what this film was rated?
PG-13.
Crazy, right?
So smart. And it's not the kind of PG-13 you notice, right?
Right.
And I think it's craft. I think it's real like craftsmanship and working, which I guess I'll mention. It's directed by Gerard Johnstone, who hasn't really had much. I think the secret weapon here, it's the screenplay, which is Akilah Cooper, a woman, by the way. I think it's important. I think that's how you get,
the perspective.
Yeah, and James Wan's story, which I want to take to task. Okay, let's
go.
take a
Let's
second.
go.
Is there a story here? What's the story? A little girl buys a doll. Doll's fucked up. Go.
Make it memeable.
Yeah. I don't know that the story here is what counts. I think the screenplay, and credit to them for differentiating between the two. But I think the screenplay was really smart. But in the just the craft of the cinematography, I guess, right? Like the gore scenes aren't like gore.
No.
And it still affects you though.
That's how I know people that review movies possibly don't even watch movies, because most of the articles I saw, the headline is like Gorefest M3GAN opens, and I'm just like, it's not. It's kind of like when Psycho came out, and they're like, yeah, man, that woman got stabbed, and you see like the knife going in, and it's like, no, you never saw a knife penetrate any flesh
For
whatsoever.
sure.
So it might have been that where people thought they saw stuff, but they didn't.
Yeah, I think of like Smile from last year was a movie that was very like, hacky with the jump scares. It was very much geared to have like a visceral attack on you. But I had fun watching the movie, but I don't think it was expertly executed, if you will. Whereas a movie like this, I think, showed a lot less, but had more of an effect.
Absolutely.
And yeah, I think that's all craft.
I think Drag Me to Hell was also a PG-13 movie.
That's fucked up. I think you. Hold on, Dylan. Can you fact check that
I'm gonna
for me,
fact
please?
check that.
Fact check
Because
me, bro.
I watched Drag Me to Hell recently, and that's fucking nuts. They must have absolutely bought off those MPAA folks to get a PG-13.
You can make something PG-13 if you're not really showing the thing that
Right.
happens.
Yeah.
I was like wincing when there's a part where she's gonna cut the guy's wrist or something, and I was like, "Oh no, they're gonna not gonna show it." It's
Yeah.
fine, don't worry.
But your physiological response is the same.
Yeah.
That's where the craft comes in.
Drag Me to Hell is PG-13.
That's
Wow.
fucking nuts. Do you remember that movie?
yeah, I remember. I wouldn't believe it.
I
You
know
told me.
that's the most, because that's not a cutaway movie.
Yeah.
It's throwing up maggots in people's faces
And Constantine rated R for demonic imagery.
and smoking.
Yeah.
Yeah, if I just said Constantine versus
Drag Me to Hell.
two masterful films in the Criterion collection. If
Yes.
I say go to my Criterion closet, pull out Drag Me to Hell, and pull out Constantine starring Johnny Depp, starring Keanu
Keanu
Reeves. Which one would you say was rated R?
Constantine with Johnny Depp. I would say that would be the rated.
That'd be a
What
hard
kind
R.
of movies can Johnny Depp do now, realistically? And by now, I mean like the last 10 years of his life, let's say. Like, is he like rocker cool duded himself out of like,
He's just Jack Sparrow,
yeah.
just the pirate.
Well, he did that one that was like oddly
Oh.
controversial. That
Oh, where he's like an AI head,
something
and like he was building stuff for the war.
yeah,
Yeah, that was a weird movie.
yeah.
It's like, why is he in this film? It's like an AI.
That's got to be a case of just like too, like, you don't want to be popular just for being pretty, because then you stop being pretty. Or, a Timothy Chalamet comes along and usurps your pretty throne.
yes.
And probably like 10 other people before him. That's the cycle of being a pretty person. Another pretty person comes off the lot and you get done. But you gotta get some skills, get some craft under your belt or something.
I don't think so. I think he made a ton of money
Yeah.
becoming a character actor. Then he's Jack Sparrow. He was somebody in some Harry Potter thing.
Forgot about all those Tim Burton
Burton's.
movies.
Oh, for sure.
Oh my goodness.
I don't
Jeez.
think he wasn't in the last two, right? Or whatever movies he's
You
done.
didn't play Dumbo?
That'd be a crazy fucking Dumbo.
Hey, Mom, I miss you.
What's
I really
up?
love you.
Oh man, I'm fucking drunk.
Can I play
I don't know why
guitar?
he's cursing.
Can I play guitar in this movie? I'm in a van called Hollywood Vampires.
It'd be insane if Dumbo was playing guitar, like sleaze rock
Yeah.
on guitar.
What a
bangles and shit around his wrists and handkerchiefs tied up.
like this the curt like he spit on a witch or something once. And she's like, I curse you with being a rockin' dude. And then he's like, well, that's cool. I'll be I'm 25 years old. What kind of curse is being a rockin' dude? And then time goes on. No! No one can take. I have too many scarves. Every one I take off, two more. Come on. I'd lift my hands to, learn a skill in life, but they're weighed down by these rings.
Oh, all these power chords.
I cursed myself with that witch. Anyways, yeah, this is just a delightful film, a perfect movie for what it is. I was very impressed with it. I think also, I think the best horror movies are usually like about something,
Yeah.
And I think good, very obvious subtext just helps films out, even if it's just there on principle. Like, with vampire stuff, it's like, oh, there's drugs and there's sex. It's one of the two. The longing for something. With zombies, it's like, we live in a society. With werewolves, it's like puberty or being gay. It's like just good metaphors, simple, like, here's what it's about. Something underneath the foundation for it to work. And like this, you have like, there's grief, there's, dealing with loss, there's like obviously absentee parents, there's, these damn kids won't get off their phones. Like, they're real simple subtexts to the point where I don't even know that they're subtexts because they're so like present in it. But it's a real interesting way to handle it. And I appreciate the substance underneath all of it. Yeah, just a great time.
Do you think there was any? You mentioned that there was some girl service in the movie. Like, do you think there was any guy service that stood out to you? Like, for instance,
Sorry.
there was a sick ass
Dylan,
there was a sick ass RoboCop reference.
is Guy Service that website you're always on?
So I was like, guy service.
Hey, download Guy Service, the new app. That's
No,
your
I'm talking about like
end?
elements of the film that are like geared toward like stoking out
sorry.
guys. That's all I meant by that. I
Yeah.
wasn't saying that like guys were being serviced in the movie. It couldn't be PG-13 if guys were being serviced in the movie. But what I'm talking about is like, okay, what like kind of stoked me out as a guy was there's a very clear RoboCop reference, how she would stop Megan with the pen. That's from RoboCop. So,
Oh, okay.
There we go.
yeah.
There you go, boomers. You got something.
Isn't there she's like, this is where you're supposed to run. And I was like, what is that from? What is that from?
I think it's from a million dubstep songs that are going to
See
come out this
Lola
year.
run.
But then I also was like, oh, am I mixing this up with this is where you're supposed to fall, which is what Johnny Cage tells Goro. And
Oh, Jesus.
Oh, deep cut.
falls down.
The only real guy in our group pulling out the true.
Is that dude service?
That is some straight dude service.
Oh, yeah, I wasn't ready for that call.
No, I was talking with Justine on the way home. I was like, I think this is like how you make a movie with women in mind that isn't pandering. Because I did not get any of that like Captain Marvel,
Oh God.
twisty mustache villain boy that says you can't do it. It seemed like a pretty grounded girl character, right?
Yeah, and portrayed not as like the let me take my glasses off and get hot.
Yeah, there's no Megan Fox moment.
Yeah.
With the slow-mo pan up.
They take her ponytail off.
Put my hair down.
Yeah.
There's none of that. The woman is a developer, totally like women in STEM, but not like it was really hard for me to get here. I had to, try to do this and that. It's like, no, she's just the leader of this group. She's worked on stuff before. Her previous products have been good.
Yeah.
Her boss is like on her about deadlines and stuff, but ultimately is like, yeah, this is great. Go ahead and do this because he wants to make money. This doesn't focus on that.
Even her assistant doesn't
Yeah.
have like quirky girlitis, which is
No.
the worst in
She's
these
not
kind of
that.
things.
She's that cat. She's not her. We were also talking on the way back about how there's not like a romance aspect.
Yeah.
Which I hate when they
Thank
shoehorn
goodness.
in. She could have easily been given a boyfriend that was like, you should spend more time with her, but
Right,
instead
right.
you only have a little bit of that from her teammate, the girl that's like, I don't know,
Yeah.
kinda messed up. Isn't this supposed to be something like a parent does? And she's like, it's fine. But no romantic relationships in the movie.
If they would have shoehorned in a guy, to be a love interest, let's say, then they probably would have replaced the robot fight at the end with the guy
Oh, yeah,
coming in at
yeah.
the last minute.
The hero.
To be the hero.
With a baseball bat.
Yeah.
And I suspect it might be because the film does have that focus of like robots are raising our children, and because
interesting.
it's kind of focused on that subtext, which is again why it's I think very important, especially in genre films, to be about something, because that's what it's about. You don't really have time for any kind of extra Hollywood. Here's what happens here, kind of stuff. I don't know if this is like a proper formula or anything, but I feel like if you swapped the main lady out with a guy, you kind of get the same movie,
Yeah, probably.
But I guess it's also not really about her so much as it's called M3GAN.
It is about
about
her.
M3GAN.
M3GAN's the star, but it's
Right.
about the lady. She has to take care of this kid, and she thinks that she can just do it with the doll. But then she learns that no, she has to be hands-on, and she's what really matters.
And you don't really see her become a good parent. Like there's enough of an arc there that it works.
It's not a Hollywood standard.
Yeah. Maybe she figures out like she can't do this bad thing towards the end, but I just appreciate it as we are as of right now 4 childless adults sitting in this room right now. So like kind of nice to have some representation, not gonna lie. Like yeah, just someone who's career focused and
But not because like a strange like oddity type reason. It's just she's just like, I just work on my stuff and I never really got into having kids.
yeah, it's not like a Cruella de Vil like you get this child away from me.
Yeah.
It's just hi. Actually, that's a really funny part in the movie. I like the kid's like, how much screen time do I get? She's like, what's that?
Yeah.
That was good.
It's like, so I can just look at this as much as I want? Yeah, sure. I mean, until I'm done, fine.
Yeah, pretty funny.
Kind of probably what the situation I'd be in if a kid was foisted upon me.
Fairly accurate because she had a lot of like cool collections and she had a nice stereo. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah. So I was like, oh, okay. That's the tension that kind of happens when you have disposable income because you don't have kids.
Right.
You know, like you can actually, you know, have stuff still in boxes on display in your house.
I like that part too, where the lady that comes over to check the child welfare lady or whatever, and she's like, let's let her play with this toy. That's not how you play with it.
Yeah.
She's like, why don't we let her do it? Oh yeah, let's just roll it like a ball. It's not.
That scene kind of hurt me, man. When she like stabbed the box with scissors.
yeah.
And you're like, oh, what the fuck? I don't know why that bothered me so much.
You didn't have to do that.
Yeah, you could have opened it from the top like a regular box. Why'd you stab it?
I think it's like she's trying to prove a point. Or
And also
she's
showing her
probably taking up-
frustration
Right.
in the moment, you know,
okay,
of just being
okay.
like, God damn it. Yeah, I like that it was just really clean and light. It wasn't a heavy watch. We were laughing. I like that we went opening or preview night because there's a lot of people there. Like I heard a lot of what the fucks and oh shit. Again, when you go see like a genre movie or a horror movie, there's people doing other tasks in the movie theater while they're watching, and it's just there's an ambience to it that I know like sticklers hate, but I actually enjoy in those environments because I don't know, it feels like more of a communal thing than just being like we are watching cinema right now, you know.
My favorite part of the movie, which is at some point the little girl is really angry because she's having like withdrawals of M3GAN, and so she's with her aunt yelling at her, and she slaps her, and this lady from this couple behind us goes, chancla.
Yeah, stuff like that. Yeah, so good.
Again, that is that you are certified watching a movie at that point. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a movie. Hey, speaking of movies, that guy James Wan, did he do anything else, Dylan?
Oh,
Do you know of his work?
yeah, he did Malignant from like 3 years ago.
Okay, some
and then he
recent
did
stuff.
he did Dead Silence.
Oh, you're just talking about that.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Another toy movie.
Oh, he
Right.
loves toys.
Yeah, he probably wrote the screenplay to M3GAN like during Dead Silent, but since he knew technology was going to get better, so he had to wait
Yes,
it out.
He had to wait.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think before all of that, he did the best horror movie franchise ever made called Saw 1, and then
Is that the only one he was involved in?
I believe so. I think he did The Conjuring or Insidious, probably Insidious. But whatever, fuck those movies. Fucking, he did Saw 1.
Iconic.
And he started the best franchise of all time, and then had nothing to do with most of them after 1.
Wait, he starred in Saw?
Yeah, him and that one guy from Saw 1.
Oh, that guy.
So in Saw
Remember
1,
Saw 1?
it's those two guys that are locked up in the bathroom.
Elwes?
Carrie Elwes, yeah. You remember when you saw 1?
Well, yeah, she
I
saw it
only
like 2 years ago.
remember him, yeah.
So like, not the Prince or whatever.
Not
the Czar-
Robin Hood.
No, not Robin Hood, but the other guy that was chained up. That guy also helped write Saw. I forgot his name, but Saw James Wan did, and it's awesome. That's it. Yeah. So James Wan, shout out. Please don't, make a bad movie. You've only made good ones. You know what I will say about this M3GAN movie that kind of tipped me off, because I didn't know what the rating was, being PG-13. What really tipped me off was when she started to really kill all like the boss and shit.
Right.
The blade didn't just go straight through his shirt. It just kind of like implied that he got stabbed. Then I'm really happy they didn't show the dog getting killed. Just kind of like implied. It's like, okay.
I will say this. I think every movie this year is going to have a TikTok dance moment in it, because I think that scene where she does that stupid little dance, I think that's going to sell a lot of tickets.
I had no idea it was so big. Like that it was so everywhere.
To promote the movie, they actually had a bunch of humans dressed as M3GAN at a Chargers game, and they went on the field during halftime and they did that dance.
How weird is
which
that?
helped with like the weird viral presence of
Also,
it.
why the Chargers?
Oh, because they're supercharged.
charge her
Because
on
Los
that
Angeles,
little
it's
platform.
like it's probably closest to the studio that made it. Okay, so do you guys know how much it cost to make this movie?
No, what do you got?
$12 million.
Oh, geez.
Do you know how much it made so far?
Like weekend, right? Weekend
Just
gross.
first weekend. Let's go worldwide.
World,
Did it come out at the same time?
Yeah,
Wow.
I'll say 36 million.
Justine.
I saw it. I don't want to guess.
Okay,
Oh, is it 20?
45 million
Oh.
so far worldwide.
Yeah, this movie I think is going to do very well.
Yeah.
I think it's going to do very well for a long time. I think it's going to be March, and we're going to be seeing Megan ads in the app because what the hell else does it have to go against?
Yeah.
And I think I think it's deserved. I was wondering if maybe it's a little too American or maybe just Western, for lack of better words, to have that like Avatar quality.
I can answer that for you. It made $2,000 in the Czech Republic over the weekend. When I say 45 worldwide, like more than 30 is US. So,
yeah.
yeah.
And it's I don't know, I guess going to be a dominating theme in just how movies are now, where you can make a movie that Americans will really connect with and really like, but you're probably going to alienate a lot of other countries and audiences, which is fine if you want to tell a very small story, because that's a lot of movies. But if you want like big budget genre flicks, if people in Chile can't connect with it,
Right.
and then like you're not going to be able to do definitely like obviously like the Marvel movies or the Avatars or those kind of just global successes. And I'm really noticing, and I'm going to notice more, how much that global domination, ultra takeover kind of movie really does come at the cost of weird little humanizing moments that, again, were really great for us who live here, like who are from this culture, but are probably going to be alienating for other people. And I think this is going to be kind of a good example of that, where a movie is going to make a lot of money here because a
Yeah.
lot of people are going to really connect with it and they're probably going to really like it. But I don't know that in other places it's going to have the same effect.
Yeah. I guess it depends on what other cultures' relationship is to devices and robots is.
And jokes like, is it more or less than a Tesla?
Yeah.
It seems very Californian to me.
That is not, I'm not discounting that at all. But regardless, doesn't matter. Great movie,
Yeah.
right? So Megan, aka M3GAN, are we charging it up overnight or are we discontinuing the prototype?
Taking her face off.
That was so cool.
Yeah.
I'm charging it up. I'm plugging it in. I'm giving it some juice, and I'm letting it run wild and do what it wants to do.
I am pairing. Pairing.
Yeah, I'm all in. I anticipated not enjoying it because I didn't like *Malignant*, and then I was so pleasantly surprised.
Yeah.
It juiced me up.
Now plug her in.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you know that the screenwriter lady also did a bulk of the Luke Cage series?
Whoa.
You serious?
I'm 100% serious with you right now, Dylan.
Holy shit.
I
That's
did my
actually-
research.
That's
Yeah.
fucking cool. So is this MCU?
It's not. Megan and Vision.
See, I think we should have stayed after the credits. I think Nick Fury shows up and he talks to the lady that made Megan. Hey, I'm building a new team.
I think it depended on what theater you went to, because in some, Vision hovers down.
Oh, yeah.
Vision with a 1, the letter 1, or the number 1
Yeah,
instead of the
Vision.
I.
Yeah.
And some
And he's
zeros.
I heard you had some experience in being a robot. Perhaps I could be of assistance. Oh, God. Next up is a movie of a slightly different flavor, but I would say maybe also a crowd pleaser starring America's sweetheart, Tom Hanks. It is called A Man Called Otto. The story centers around a man. You're not going to guess it. He's called Otto. He works his last day at a factory of some sorts and decides he's going to commit suicide. But
He's going to take his own life.
he sees across the street that a new family is moving in and they don't know how to parallel park the car. So he takes a break from killing himself to go help him do that. And then he's just continually foils attempts to commit suicide.
He's
But
going to die by suicide.
he learns to love along the way. And that's A Man Called Otto, directed by Mark Forster. You know what he did? A little movie called World War Z. God, would you put some respect on these auteurs' names? No, he's done like a bunch of movies. He did Monsters Ball. He did Stay. He did James Bond, Quantum of Solace. He's did a bunch of weird movies that don't seem like they're by the same person.
Yeah.
And then he took like kind of a break, or like has been working on kind of smaller movies. And now we have this one, which is all a very small film, but a very human film, very heartwarming film.
Backed hard by the whole Hanks family.
Yeah, he's involved. Dylan,
Yes.
you saw this film.
Yes.
I said I wasn't going to spoil it for you.
Yeah.
But now we're going to spoil it for the world.
Yes.
Did you see Chet Hanks' involvement in the film?
I heard his involvement.
Which was?
Mike Birbiglia popping out and like listening. I was like waiting for Chet Hanks the whole time, but when I heard White Boy Summer in the car, I was like, oh, that's Chet Hanks' involvement? That's insane. Yeah, that's fucking cool.
Yeah, and then the Truman Hanks plays young Tom Hanks.
Yes.
In the flashback scenes, of which there are several. And first of all, I just love hearing the words Mike Birbiglia and White Boy Summer
Let's
in
back
the
this
same
up.
sentence.
You're telling me that the song that was playing in the car was Chet Hanks?
The first song you hear from Mike Birbiglia's car is a Chet Hanks song.
Holy
I can't-
fucking shit.
I can't confirm if the other songs are Chet Hanks, but I know that the first one is
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so the other Hanks are in the film.
yeah.
Sorry, Colin Hanks, you don't get a shout out, but
Yeah, weirdly.
and I don't know,
the talented one.
and I don't know if that's a weird dig if you're like, hey, douchebags, listen to my son's music, like that's kind of what you're saying, or is it like an Easter egg, like real Hanks family heads will be like, oh, cool, Chet's in the
I like to my imagination is that Mike Birbiglia was playing that song as a joke, and like Tom Hanks has no idea that's a Chet Hanks song, so he just was like, whatever.
I am so with that.
If you're just blasting rap, I just assume you're just listening to this.
Oh my god, that's crazy, man! Thank you
Yeah.
for like figuring that out. I've never heard White Boy Summer.
Oh,
I
yeah.
heard him say it. Like,
He's never heard it from someone else's car.
Oh,
is what he
okay.
said.
Oh yeah,
I've never heard it outside of my
yeah.
own
It's just
car.
I mean, it sounds different in my car.
Headphones, home.
Yeah.
In the gym in your own head.
This is a fun film. It's lighthearted, despite the fact that I've talked about suicide more in this one description of the movie than I have in any other film. But that darkness, I think, because there is some genuine darkness, I think kind of balances out the cartoonish niceness, and it finds a nice little place for itself. I came up with a tagline for the film. This movie is like falling down for people who donate to PBS. Like,
Holy shit. That's
like-
also, man, I'm having my mind blown on this episode.
like instead of shooting up the McDonald's because like their burgers are too small, you're like housing
You're just gonna
transgender
kill
teens.
yourself. Yeah.
You're like, whatever, I'm done with this world. I'm going to go on a rampage. It's like, no, whatever, I'm done with this world. I'm just going to be so nice to everyone on accident.
Yeah, watching this like so close to Strange World, you're just seeing these boomers that are just way down,
Way too
with-
nice.
yeah.
And it's like comical in a sense. I keep thinking of this. You do have a movie that is not grounded, right? Like it's silly in the portrayal of niceness, and the moral of the story, the big moral, right, is like you need to rely on other people. You need to have other people rely on you. If you're more capable than other people, you should help other people and teach other people and be involved in your community, because the other option is, of course, death. And it's a very good moral story. I'm glad to see a movie like this put that message out there. It's not, the most crazy earth-shaking thing in the world, but if I have to say, is it a pro or a con? Like, it's pro. I'm glad it exists, even if it is a little sappy. But I do think it's funny that you can have a movie that's like cartoonishly nice in its portrayal of things. It's a fantasy, right? Like, I can be so helpful, I can be so kind. You're living through this guy. You're not letting bullies pick on people. You're standing up for the little guy. You can have these comical portrayals of kindness. It's just funny. You can have all these things happen, but you can't have the only way to properly portray this cartoonishly nice, kind soul who you fall in love with is just make him completely neutered and asexual. The one kind of sexual moment is when he scolds that guy in the truck for being mean to that chick.
Yeah.
And you can kind of, it's like so subtle, it might be just me projecting, but like you can kind of feel her being turned on by his defense of her. And it's like,
You're misreading.
and it's not like she's like, oh, Mr. Hanks, which is fucked because the closest thing to like being a sexual being or something of sexual attraction is when he's at his cruelest and most violent. It's like that part in Winter Soldier where Captain America flexes his muscle and he brings the helicopter a little closer, and like, I'm not turned on, but like I can feel a kind of turned
There's
on
an energy
in the air by this display of masculinity, and it's like, okay, this is
some shifting in seats.
yeah. Just like, okay, this works. Like I felt like this was the Otto equivalent of that moment.
That's funny you say that because I ruined my experience watching this movie by going home and immediately watching this movie called The Girl on the Third Floor, which stars CM Punk, the wrestler. And yeah, he's got a sex scene in it, and it's so bad. And he's just like plays like a guy that's looking for sex. So it was like this bad contrast, in Tom Hanks versus CM Punk, and then like a wholesome kind of feel versus like just like a gross. Like the premise of that movie is like he buys a Victorian house that comes. Like there's like the actual walls ejaculate because it used to be a brothel or something like that. It was really bad.
Is it like a ghost story?
It's on. I think it's on Netflix currently, so you can check that out if you want.
Like in the Doom Patrol show, there's like ghosts.
Yeah,
that are like, just constantly having an orgy.
Oh yeah, it is. It is basically that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Dylan, there's a CM Punk show where he lives in a haunted cum house, and you haven't made me watch this yet?
No.
So it's bad.
This is all to say that, to my point, you can have a guy have sex, or you can have him be nice, but you can't. You can't have both. You have to be completely asexual or kind, or I guess murderous. You could be Michael Myers.
True, suicidal.
Just kill. For the record, I'm not saying please insert Tom Hanks getting blowjobs in this movie. I'm not saying that it needs that.
No, you're saying he should be jacking off whenever he's off.
I'm not saying that. I understand their points. I just think it's funny, Dylan.
That he's not jerking
Dylan,
off.
Dylan, the CM Punk movie has CM Punk jacking off to porn.
I gotta watch
He's
it.
a bad, and he's not a likable person, I bet, in the
But
movie.
I don't know. He's not coming off as a likable person at
Yeah,
first. He
he's not
comes off as
being
mean.
nice.
Idiots.
Right. And that's, I think, another point to the movie's credit. If it was just Mr. Rogers from the gate, it wouldn't work. But since it's like a cranky old man, I don't even think he's that cranky. He's just sorting his recycling properly,
Yeah, but he's pissed off about it.
making sure people do the rules. Yeah.
I was seriously like, oh man, they made a movie about me.
Yeah.
At the beginning, I'm like, how hard is it? How hard is it? But this is where it goes. Yeah. So he's not like being nice. He's just like, if he was more of a jerk, he'd be mansplaining everything.
Right.
He's just like, why is this hard for you? Let me do it.
Well, yeah.
That's what he's doing the whole time. So he's not being nice. He's just like doing what other people can't do, and it happens to help them.
Yeah, and it's not like a type A personality where he just wants everything done his way. It's like,
Do it right.
yeah. And
He actually
has-
is looking out for like the betterment of the community, but they're just not playing along.
Yeah, and he's just doing it in an angrily way.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of what makes it not totally be sappy, even if it is a little sappy.
So it came from an adaptation of a book?
Yeah.
Like-
And I believe a
play.
Swedish book, if I had
Yeah,
to guess.
and then it was made into a Swedish movie.
Yeah.
And I'm curious to know like how that is. Because I thought it was really interesting how they did the flashbacks.
Right.
Because it's all done whenever he attempts suicide and his life flashes before his eyes.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
when you get to see also like the things that he's flashing back to. And so it's able to like make a lot of cuts because it's just kind of flashing. And that's really cool. That's a really clever way of showing you the backstory without, like him info dumping.
I think it adds for some good like pacing and structure, like your basic comedy comes in threes kind of thing, because it does happen 3 times, and like the attempted suicides and then the interruption and eats something and then goes to kill himself and is interrupted. Yeah, definitely an interesting device. I was really reminded of a lot of just random ass like European graphic novels that I'll pick up.
Oh, yeah.
This feels a lot like that in the sense of it just being some kind of one-off wrapped up completely kind of story. And yeah, it would probably work well with that format as well, possibly due to the pacing and the flashbacks and all the techniques used there.
Then you just have like some pages that are in color, and probably the rest of the panels are in black and white.
Yeah.
I have a question. I noticed right away when I saw the names on the credits, like with the names with like umlauts on it, I was like, "Oh, this is going to be a Swedish film, is it?" Mm-hmm. Did anyone else think it just looked Swedish?
Yeah.
I was
Absolutely.
like, damn, it's kind of weird, like an Americanized Swedish film with Tom Hanks.
Yeah.
I got a hot take, kind of a
Hit us.
felt very Canadian.
Canadian?
Canadian.
Well, no, like the colors to me and everything. For some reason,
Yeah?
it just screamed
Yeah.
IKEA.
Why did you think Canadian?
Just like not the lack of pollution,
Oh,
like those kind of like nice little like cul-de-sacs that they're in.
Sure.
It's different than like at least a Southern Californian cul-de-sac.
Yeah.
You know,
They work a lot of stuff into this movie. You know, because I was trying to explain it to somebody today that was asking about it. I was like, oh yeah, then there's this and there's this and there's this aspect, and you know, like even like the grief that the guy is going through, and
Yeah.
how, it's also a grief story on top of everything else. You know,
multi-layered for being kind of a saccharine little film.
exactly. It was easy to watch in
Yeah.
spite of having like difficult aspects.
But it's so weird that it's well, I go back and forth about this because it is genuinely a funny movie.
Yes.
And when he's interrupted during his suicide attempts, it's like funny,
Right.
but it's so like, I don't know if this should be used as something comedic, you know? I'm a
breaking the
little
tension.
torn.
I
Yeah.
thought about that today, and I just realized that I kind of lean on dark humor. So I'm like, that's for somebody that has that sort of, you know, that looks at comedy that way or can appreciate that kind of comedy. But I wonder how that's going to play with like once it hits streaming and people actually watch it. Other than I think box office is like 4.2 million. So not a ton of people, but yeah, I think like once this hits streaming, people might not enjoy it as much as we did.
Yeah, I also feel like this is the opposite of M3GAN, where this feels very European.
Yeah.
And so I think that plays differently to a European audience.
Oh,
And
100%.
so maybe for the American audience, I feel like maybe, I don't know, for older people, I guess it's a little slow, but it's like funny and kind of charming. So like that should be fine for them. But I could see it very easily not hitting a wider American audience, partially because of that sort of dark humor, where it's just on a very personal level. But I thought it was good. It did seem European, even down to the house, because I don't know of any place that looks like that.
Right.
And I don't know where it was supposed to be. I think I saw somewhere like Pennsylvania or
yeah, they
something.
said some like middle America, but then
Right.
it's like, why does it look like
The
that?
town.
Yeah.
It takes place in the town where a man called Otto takes
yes.
place in,
No, I swear, I think it is like Michigan, but it's like why?
so that they can have cold and
And then
snow.
the neighborhood, yeah. So I'm like, where are they?
Yeah, because it looks like where they are living is like, okay, so this has to be like a high density,
Yeah.
living area if they have to live in a weird street like that. But then they're like, oh no, and then they built this development and now it's getting, like, well then why were you all so close together if there was a lot of land?
I don't know why it wasn't obvious to you guys, but it's on the back of a turtle. So
Oh, okay.
Not a lot of room
It's on
on
top of it.
I guess a lot of the kind of more morbid stuff is, I don't want to say forgiven, like it needs forgiveness, but I think it's justified in the sense that it's, to me at least, a very fantastical film. And I think the general tone is not really worried about grounding itself in like reality so much. Not that it's like, a fantasy movie or, well, I think it is a fantasy movie. That's the fucked up thing. And the other thing why it won't work in America is because the fantasy is that an old man can just be nice and like learn to connect with people, and that like looking out for your community is how you win in the end. And like, I've never talked to any of my neighbors unless by force. So that's not really. So I can understand that part being really alienating, where it's like, hey, here's how you win. You go outside and you talk to someone, you weirdo. Just go talk to someone. That's, I think, what gives it a fantastical feel,
Yeah.
is that it's, able to tell these kind of morality tale in a pretty black and white way like that.
So I looked it up. He's in a suburban in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And it kind of explains the guy in the truck that was honking at them. It's like, okay, that makes sense. One more thing.
For sure.
Everyone listening, the way we watched it, Colin, Justine, and Brent watched it, as a group. I watched it alone in a 12:30 showing, 12:30
so
p.m.
cool.
And I just want to know, what was your theater like? Because for me, sitting alone, I couldn't even find a seat to like sit comfortably alone. I had to sit like in those corners, like behind the railing. And like I had to been, other than like a son that was there with a dad, I had to been like the youngest person there. And like it was insane. It was just funny to see like, I don't know, 30 plus old people enjoying the film. It was packed. Yeah.
I mean, our showing was full-ish. There was people.
Yeah.
There was like a dozen.
At least a dozen.
Yeah.
I would have to say, for me, there was more people at my showing of Otto than there was M3GAN.
Whoa.
Like to make that comparison.
Yeah.
That's
There's a lot.
wild.
There was enough people at M3GAN to be like, oh wow, people are here.
Yeah.
So, all right, Colin, if you're like, if you're into America's Sweetheart, Tom Hanks, like wholesome Tom Hanks,
Right.
and you watch this movie, like just speculate, like, would you like it?
Oh yeah, I think
Okay.
it's Tom Hanks being likable, and that's what
He ends up likable.
works.
Yeah.
I think he starts out likable in the way that, see, God, I watched this video essay and they talked about Bonfire of the Vanities, and they said that the movie kind of failed because the character in Bonfire of the Vanities that the book was based on is like a dickhead, like a
Yeah.
horrible person. And the studio was like, we don't want to make a movie with someone that's this unlikable. I know, we'll balance it out. We'll get Tom Hanks in. And the person's point was like, it's neither here. The movie doesn't, really succeed because you can't not like Tom Hanks.
Yeah.
Likewise, you have him be like I don't like the term, but I'll say a Karen in like the beginning
Yeah,
of the movie,
yeah.
Or have exhibit Karen adjacent tendencies,
Mm-hmm.
which you would normally find contemptible in a character. But because it's Tom Hanks and because you like him, you see through the rough veneer. And then, of course, he ends up, again, just doing comically insane feats of kindness to, his fellow man. And I really think about this in terms of like what kind of itch it's scratching. It seems like, I don't know, a plea for kindness, just a guidebook of like, hey, you know how this guy's cool to people? What if you were cool to people? And I think Tom Hanks knows that. And I
course
think
he
the
does.
director knows that. And I think they're all in cahoots to just be like, hey, let's fucking show these people just basic compassion, like, yeah. And I
Yeah.
think to your original question, like if I'm a Tom Hanks fan,
Yeah.
I'm watching this and walking away saying like, oh, look at our man in action. What a swell, kindly gent. What do you think?
It's like Up.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
it's like, well, people like Up, make an adult Up. And then they did. And you know what else I was thinking? I was like, dang, that his young self. I was like, he looks like Buzz Lightyear. And I was like, wait a minute, Tom Hanks is Buzz Lightyear, right? No, Tom Hanks is the cowboy, but still, why does his son look like Buzz Lightyear?
I think he just stuck looking like Buzz Lightyear, man.
That's really
Yeah.
weird.
Sometimes you just get what you get.
Yeah. When is that book?
When is that book?
Like
Yeah,
when
when
did that
did it come
release?
out?
You know
When was
what?
that book?
Hey, listen, we're an informative podcast.
While you're looking that up, the music that they chose for this, did it work for you guys? Did you notice it?
Only when he tries to commit suicide, he plays all those songs. And I was like, the one songs where it's all like, and it's like whatever the singing songs, I'm like, okay, it's a weird ass choice. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's listening to like modern, like whatever that music is.
Yeah.
Singer songwriter.
Yeah, and I'm just
coffee
like,
shop kind of music.
Yeah, and I'm like, okay, I guess it's radio.
Yeah, there's a few stock tracks in it. So I was like, this is just really odd. But I was trying to think of like what else they could do it to. And
Yeah,
it
it's
would
not like
change the
he's-
whole tone.
It's not like he's listening to like Motley Crue.
Yeah. Yeah.
Would be cool.
So I looked it up, and it came out in 2012,
The book.
the book.
Mm-hmm.
For the record, Up came out in 2009.
Oh.
Oh, they stole it. Up for adults. Up for adults. Swedish version.
Colin,
I don't think you could say Swedish and adult in the same sentence without having some implications there.
Yeah, good point.
Okay.
I noticed that you really liked Hanks's outfits in this one.
Yeah, I gotta say they did them up right. And again, sad state of affairs where you have to model the behavior.
Yeah.
Like, hey, dummy, don't just put on the cargo pants from Costco. Like, look at this guy. See how he's
Sharp,
a capable guy. Like, Put on an undershirt. Put on a lot of sweaters.
Own an
a nice
iron.
weather. Yeah. Look sharp, old timer. I'll give you some full disclosure.
Okay.
Since I did get based and auto-pilled,
Okay.
I did buy a cashmere sweater.
Congratulations. Fucking test. You know what?
It hasn't arrived yet. It was a Packers sale.
Listen.
It'll be here in a couple weeks.
Listen. I see where you're at, and I'm gonna say year 2 for the podcast. We are upgrading everything. I'm gonna go ahead and go on the barber website and go ahead and see what kind of coats I could start rocking. In this
I have
spot.
a good idea.
Go on.
Let's all dress up like characters that we like in film.
Yeah.
And then go to like a Macy's or JCPenney and take some pics.
Are you gonna go as Patrick Bateman?
No, I mean like from the podcast.
Oh,
not
that
films that we like legit like
Can be Megan.
yeah, like movies we've done, not movies we've seen.
Okay. Do we have to go
beforehand.
weekly or can we go?
No,
like,
we can just take a picture. It doesn't have to be pictures taken weekly. It could be like you're dressed like Batman and you're Paul Dano's Riddler. And,
That's just Tuesday, baby.
yeah,
I'm Nirvana. Something in the way.
no, I was gonna say you're what's his name?
Gordon.
Gordon. Yeah,
Yeah, I'll be Jim Gordon.
yeah. I'm Catwoman.
I do have the Riddler jacket, so I'm going to take that one.
I know. See, that's
It's a
what I'm
good
saying.
ass
We have to go
jacket,
to a
too.
military.
Wait, nobody
surplus
claimed Colin Farrell as the Penguin. I'll take the Penguin.
store. Oh, you could be Catwoman. I'm more shaped like that. Penguin.
I'll go for that. Yeah.
So I
Well,
guess I
I
can go as Penguin.
currently have a Batman costume on, so I guess I can reuse it.
That's
Yeah.
true. I know this is a podcast, but Justine is legitimately wearing the Batman suit.
Otto. A Man Called Otto. Are we spelling it forward or backwards? I'm going to say, for me, personally, just speaking for myself, it's a forward. I don't know that me 5 years ago would have been open and kind and warm enough to understand this film. I might have guffawed at it in my younger years or thought it was a little bit sentimental, but 41-year-old me with a who is just now trying to experience human emotion,
And sweaters.
and is now based and auto-pilled. I'm gonna say I'm spelling it forward. Yes, I'm doing that twice. I'm gonna say auto-pilled as
It's
much
so
as I can.
Oh god, I can feel the cashmere. It's so soft.
We didn't shout out Marisol, the neighbor lady.
She was great.
Yeah,
It
she was
really
great.
funny.
This is
Early
supporting-
contender for supporting actress. There's that scene too where like he goes to her door to use the phone and she like kind of puts her foot down.
Oh, that was so good.
And then she quits.
Great scene.
Yeah. Like no, the whole supporting cast was great. I don't know if there's like a weak link.
Yeah.
Nope.
Everyone
Kids were great.
Silly.
Yeah. I just love saying the name Mike Birbiglia. And I love to see him be a dick. Talk about a guy who's like very likable,
Yeah.
but just trying to be a, villain.
Yeah. Isn't it cool that like the trait of the villain in 2023 is I have your data?
Yeah. Too much algorithming.
Yeah.
Megan.
Yeah.
Otto.
A lot of algos.
Yeah. I also like that there was mole and pollo.
Yes.
I like all the food.
And I like that he liked it.
Yeah. And that he was like surprised. And he's like,
Yeah, again, someone's like, I want my husband to just try new food. Maybe if I put that in the movie, this guy will just eat the food.
Yeah, I love that Mexican baked goods saved his life.
Yeah.
I liked how they called him Abuelo Otto
Oh,
a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I liked it a lot.
What were we? What's
Otto, is it spelled forward or backwards? I'm proud of that one. I'm sticking with it. No revisions.
I'll say forward OTTO like the little girl says. It was good. I was worried that because it was a little bit long. I
Right.
did not look at my watch.
No.
Yeah,
Good pacing.
yeah.
That's impressive for
I
you.
know. I was
Wow.
like, I was surprised too because I was like, oh, I think it's gonna end soon. And then there's kind of a fake out or a couple of fake outs
Yeah.
where you think it's gonna end, but it was still okay. It wrapped it up.
I'm definitely killing myself to give this movie 2 thumbs up.
I'm spoiling it forward and backwards. It's
Whoa.
a great film. Justine, I was going to give a shout out to the mom and the family, but the mom, early contender for MILF of the year.
Jesus.
Damn,
I was,
son.
Wow.
I was legit watching that like, God damn it. And I was like, oh, she's pregnant. I couldn't even tell at the first. Then I was like, I don't care. That's fucking cool.
She gets unpregnant later.
Yeah, and that's fine. Early contender for MILF of the year.
For the audio-only listeners of the podcast, Dylan is blushing. I think he's got a little bit of a
And I have a giant boner. Everyone's staring at me.
trying to make this PG-13.
I think I'd be blushing too. I don't know if I've ever said the word MILF out loud, like unironically.
That's hilarious.
Dude, she's a MILF.
MILF of the year is a crazy line. to say.
I know. I can
Like, what
only
does that mean?
I can only say MILF if I'm like doing an impression of a dickhead. Like, Dad, she's a MILF.
Yeah.
MILF of the year.
Listen.
MOTY. I'm giving the Modi to.
No, that's it.
This one, like, listeners can vote on that one.
Yeah.
All right, Dylan, go ahead and take us out.
Oh God, I've been shot by Dylan.
Well, I have Batman armor on.
Okay, and
so I'm
that's-
fine.
Oh yeah,
built
so I
into
can't
this.
kill you. Actually,
Yeah.
it's like bouncing. Oh
It's
wait,
a callback.
Ricochets hit Brent. Oh, let me kill Brent. Gotta take him out of his.
I'm
misery.
catching strays.
Gotta take him out of
Dogs.
his misery. Hey, you freaks! Thank you for listening to this episode of Regal Movie Masters Unlimited. Hope you had a great New Year's like the rest of us at RMMU. Join us next week to rewatch some magnificent films such as House Party 2023, Plane, and The Double Conspiracy. I'm actually really excited for these films. I think the rest of us are too. I'm going to go ahead and generalize that. Hope to see you at the movies this new year. Bye!